Tiago, it's good to see you back at in the dining room.
Good to say share in
a dining room.
In a normal situation. Yeah, I apologize for yesterday.
We enjoyed yesterday.
Total.
Yeah. By the way, Tiago, yesterday may go down as one of the best year.
Let me tell you. Okay. Anyways.
Did you get to sleep at all?
Actually, good. I was actually happy that I had a middle seat. I think in the beginning I was nervous. I had two guys, didn't move around too much. The guy next to me elbowed me in the head once by mistake. But other than that, I was I got to sleep a little. I slept more than I slept in Yerushalayim. So yeah. Yeah.
What wine?
Okay, let's go. Yeah, Lema Ketanoi, and I didn't down my want to finish by 9:30. I'm sure you'd be happy to hear that. Yeah.
Tiago, I will make sure you're done at 9:25.
There you go. Gershon already. Look at the scowl on Gershon's face.
Don't worry, we can take care of that. Don't worry.
I'll deal with Gershon.
We have people in Cleveland just for that purpose.
You don't have to. Yeah, Cleveland's enough of a whatever. No, Chas v'Shalom. It's a good place.
What are you holding over here?
We're at Lema Ketanoi, first wide line on Chav Zayin number base.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So Lema Ketanoi. So let's say this whole din is a machloikas tanoim. Meaning, what's a machloikas tanoim? Simanim. Remember what we said? Simanim is the deraisa or the rabbanon. We said what's a nafkamina, meaning this concept of providing a siman, and then you could take the guy who provides the siman can take the lost property. So is it a derana or a deraisa? So if it's a deraisa, that means it's mamish min ha-Torah if you show simanim. The nafkamina being is if a get gets lost, and the woman gives simanim. It's a big difference. If the woman says if the get fell from the woman, then she can collect a ksuba on it. And if it fell from the man, that means she cannot collect the ksuba. So it makes a big difference. But then also she's divorced, then she can, if we say that she's holding on to the ksuba, she can go get remarried. That's a major issue. If you're going to say the concept of showing simanim lets you keep something, is it only a derabanan? How do we go allow a woman to go marry, a potential Eishes Ish to go marry somebody if the whole concept of simanim is derabanan? So that's what the big nafkamin is. So we had a machlokes, so we're saying maybe it's a machlokes tanoim. Right, again, first wide line, Chav Zayin Mabez. Same Eden ala Shuma. So it says you're not allowed to say Eidos on a Shuma. A Shuma is basically a growth on the body, I mean like a wart. You cannot say Eidos on a wart, meaning if you're trying to prove that the husband dies, that the woman can get married. So you can't base your testimony because you know the person had a wart. The Elazar ben Mavaya, I remember Eden al Shuma, he says you could say Eidos on a wart and then allow her to get remarried. So then l'chayra, it's the same machlokes. My lava kamifligi. Tanakama is obviously simanim derabanan. Tanakama holds this whole concept of showing simanim is the derabanan. Therefore, we cannot allow a woman to go get remarried based on a derabanan, on something that only works with derabanan. Elazar ben Mavai sover simanim deraisa, but Elazar ben Mavai holds simanim is deraisa. So since a siman is a deraisa, so if a guy can prove that this guy had a wart, let's say on above his on his forehead, so then we would allow her to get, and then he's dead, then we would allow her to get remarried.
It's unfortunate, but it seems like they're doing this in Israel. Based on video and information and all of that. Apparently that's what it seems like.
Okay, but don't they use dental records?
No, they're prosecuting people are dead even though they're still hostages.
What do you mean?
The rabbinate is asking that the person's dead. They sit shiva the whole 9 yards, even though they don't have the body, based on video, footage, information, all these other things.
Oh yeah. Interesting.
I guess it's probably more complicated than the guy had.
It's much more complicated than that. I know I have someone in the business over there. I mean, if a person's lost a few gallons of blood, I mean, there's a lot of, they have intelligence. They're not just asking that easily. A lot of, I mean, my relative is a Rav there, and it's very complicated. So when they say somebody's dead, he's dead. They wouldn't say lightly. Anyway, doesn't matter. But the point is, they don't go by the face and all that, because today, you know, you have to decide, you know, what would suffice today. In those days, you know, they have to have certain criteria. What would suffice today is obviously different.
Okay, I hear. But either way, so warts would be a machlokes, right? We're saying warts is a machlokes tanoi. So Amar Rava, the Kuliya said so that's what we think. So that was, and we're going to touch that into Simana being daraisa or not. So Amar Rava, the Kuliya is Simanim daraisa. Everybody says Simanim is daraisa. Okay, so what's the machlokes? A fascinating concept, right? I don't even begin to understand what this means, but Shuma is found with a Ben Gila. Ben Gila is basically Rashi, which is the way Rashi says it. They were born under the same mazel, meaning two people born with the same mazel.
To be born in the same month?
In the same mazel.
Is it a mazel month?
It's not necessarily a month, I don't think.
It's a constellation.
Is it a constellation? It's horoscopes, right, or something like that?
Horoscope is a constellation. Yeah, the weirdest the positioning of the stars and planets and the celestial things up there, whatever they are. Minus the satellites.
Yeah, okay, whatever it is, but that means because two people will have the same thing.
What does that mean?
You're gonna have the same wart. Yes.
Because they were born in the same mazel, they have the same birthmark.
Yes. I told
No,
you.
I'm just saying because they were born in the same mazel, they have the same birthmarks.
Yes. Yes. Meaning it sounds like
Let's just go with that.
Birthmarks, you could say that's
Whatever, same warts.
Warts.
whatever it is, anything.
Yeah, whatever.
What does anything mean? What does that mean? They have the same hair color. They have the same eyes. They have the same feet. What does that mean?
Well, that's what we have to say. Yeah, basically, it sounds like from this, two people can end up having the same trajectory. How's that a new modern word over there? Trajectory in life based on because they were born with the same mazel. Yes.
Okay, I'm born the same mazel. No, the same trajectory, so?
You might not have the same trajectory, but you'll have a lot of things similar to each other. Yes.
Well, have similar.
I don't know.
No, Naftali, you're not similar. Okay. No matter when you were born, no matter what month or how close, you're not the same.
Sure, I'm sure you could find common. Like obviously, it can't mean the same exact thing because then you're gonna have two exact people in the world. But there are some things that are similar. I don't know. What is what it says? Right? So
How to make a phone call?
maybe.
But I'm trying to call the store.
We're talking about where the shum is found by Ben Gila. Right. By the way, and I don't know if anybody ever noticed the Hebrew invitation, right? But it says the chasen, and then some of them say im beis gimel, right? How do they do it? They write ayin beis gimel, right? And what does that mean? That means
Bas Gilo.
Im bas giloy. It's a good riddle because most people have no idea what that stands for. If anybody even reads the Hebrew of an invitation, if anybody even reads an invitation at all nowadays, okay. But that being said, the imbas giloi means like this, the girl that was in the himmel, whatever you want to call it, that was meant for him, right? Okay. Anyway, so Masav Shum Matzu Ben Giloi. One shita says, yes, you could.
They got the same word on their nose.
Maybe. Right, maybe.
Perfect shit.
Maybe that's why when they get engaged, that's why when they get married, maybe they call it a wart. They get the parties called a wart. Yeah. No, somebody wanted to get a patur from saying tachnun because they were out of vart. I was like, if anything, you should say tachnun because all the chatoim that are going on over there. But okay, but either way, so Marsha shuma between ben gila, Marsha shuma ain't between ben gila. So therefore, it would be a good proof. Meaning, if it could be found in somebody that's born in the same mazel as him, so then it wouldn't be a proof because two people could have the same wart. But if not, then it would be a simon. Or everybody holds, which is clearly like we hold, meaning us chevra and this chabura are clearly saying that you're not having two people because they're born under the same mazel have the same wart. The machlokes is, can the body change after death? Marsavar, meaning the things that are on the body. One says that these things could change after death. So you can't use it as a simon because maybe it could develop after the body's dead. Or the other one says that it could not change after Misa. That's a second way to understand the machlokes. Shuma it's not change. The simon the rabbanon, and simonim is the rabbanon. And here we're talking about whether shuman is a simon muvak, like from the word of Talmud muvak, meaning it's a very strong raya. It's a strong simon. Marsa shuma simon muvaku. One holds that a shuma, a wart, is a simon muvak, meaning it's so strong you could be mater neshus ish that the husband was dead based on it. Marsa shuma lav simon muvaku. Shuma, is not a simon muvak. Fine. So there's three ways to explain this machlokes tanaim, and that it's not a machlokes whether simanim is the raisa the rabban. Fine. So Amar Rava imtin salam simanim lav the raisa. If you're going to say that simanim is not the raisa, hechi madrinan avedosam b'simanim, that's a very simple raya. Meaning we're saying that in hashavas aveda you can give back the aveda to a guy who shows simanim, but if simanim is not the raisa, how do you go give an aveda to someone? Maybe the guy's a crook, right? How do you know? How can you go give it some? You find something in the street. A guy comes and gives simanim, and you say, "Oh, he said he knows. He said he knows exactly what's on this thing, so we should give it to him." If it's a derabanan, how did the derabanan allow you to give something to somebody when it could really very very well be belonging to somebody else? Elamai, you must say that simanim is deraisa. So if simanim is deraisa, then you do it. So Gemara answers the nichale lamotzei aveda. It's good for the person who found the aveda, the nedar b'simanim, because it's good. He's happy to give it away. Why? Because when he loses something, they're going to go back to him with simanim, right? Hear what it's saying? Meaning everybody will be happy to give back lost objects based on simanim, even though it's not a deraisa. Why? Because when they lose something, they'll be able to provide for simanim. So therefore, they'll give it up.
If they come back to us, that's the reason we do mitzvahs. Because of this.
And we're not saying that you're doing this at a mitzvah. We're just saying how it works halachically to be able to do it. Meaning, we're saying that the guy who found the aveda is very happy to give it. But then, Racham, I don't know. The next kash is really what you're asking, sort of. I think. Can you do a taiva for yourself with somebody else's money? I mean, unfortunately, yes. There's a lot of people that they're double parking. Yeah. Making U-turns in the middle of, you can cause all sorts of tichud tzibura doing these things. So it seems like people do these things, but the Gemara is asking, can somebody do a taiva for himself with somebody else's money? What? So you're going to give away this lost item to somebody potentially who doesn't own it, to the non-owner, because for your sake it's good in case you ever lose something? How could that be? So Gemara answers, it's nicha for the balaveda to give simanim and to take it, right? Meaning the one that actually owned it. Made the other day, Adam less. Like he knows he has no witnesses. Umeimar Amar, he's gonna say to himself, Kuli Amal Yodi Simanim Muvhakim. Dita. Nobody knows the actual simanim of this lost object. Ba'anoya hivna simanim Muvhakim, Dita, and I'm gonna give the simanim and I'm going to take it. Right, so meaning now we're going to flip it, and we're saying it when we're saying from the on the angle of the one who lost it. So he's very nicha for simanim to be given, because otherwise he'll never get it back for himself. Which means that he's nicha that even if somebody else, I think that's what this means, that even if somebody else comes and gives simanim, he's okay with it, even though they're going to be taking his item, but he's assuming that he's the only one that knows the actual simanim, and it's nicha that the guy gives it to him or to anybody else who has the simanim, because otherwise you're gonna have to bring Adim, which who has Adim for? I mean, do we have Adim that and anything that we lost was ours? Most don't have Adim for that. Fine. So then what I ask is, but it can't necessarily be true. Again, we're always saying that it's nicha for the owner of the lost object to allow simanim to be accepted, even though simanim is the rabbanon. But so now the Gemara is going to ask from two scenarios where the owner of the lost object will not be happy if the item is given back, right? Hello, the Tanan from the Mishnah, a couple of blada go to Shimon Gamliel Omer. Right, this is talking about where you have shtaros that get lost. So echad halayva mishloisha. Let's say you find three shtaros, three documents together, and in all of them, it's one guy who borrowed from three people. So then Yafsil Leva, you give it back to the Leva. So because clearly if you found three documents and it all has the same borrowers, then it must be belonging to the borrower. But if it's three people that borrow from one, meaning it's the same lender in three shtaros, so Yafsil Malva, he gives it back to the Malva because it's l'chayra the lenders. Now Nichale Leva Ladurale La Malva, in this case, who's the owner of the shtar? The potential owner of the shtar? The borrower. And you're saying that he's going to be happy if it gets given to the Malva? How can he be happy that it's going to be given to the Malva?
Why is the potential borrower the owner if it's three
Because
stars?
it's the shtar, because it's his shtar.
Three stars from the same lender.
Right. We don't know whose they are.
Obviously,
but it could very well be that it's the lenders. It could be the lenders, it could be the borrowers. We don't know.
But if three stars from the same lender,
but the
lender lost it.
That's what the Mishnah says. But the borrower, what's he gonna give him back with based on simanim, right?
You give it back to the lender. Based on
correct, but the borrower is not going to be nicha to that. He doesn't want the shtar going back to the lender.
He wants to get off the loan.
Correct. So
but
then he's not nicha.
That it's not his.
But he definitely was the owner of this thing.
When was he the owner of it?
When at some point he was the owner of it when he borrowed the money.
It wasn't. The lender's the owner when you borrow.
No, if it gets lost, and he paid back the loan.
So he wasn't necessarily the owner.
We don't know whose it is. It's the same thing. We don't have no idea whose it is. Since we have no idea whose it is, so we were saying. So why is again? We're going from this. That how can you say that simanim allow somebody to take something? So we answered because the owner of the item is very happy that simanim would be allowed because he's the only guy. Makes his life much easier. Fine, but now the Gemara just found a case where the potential owner of the shtar, who was the loiva, if he already paid back the loan, is going to be very unhappy if you give it back, right? With simanim, he's going to be very unhappy. Tamalei hasam svarahu. There, no, we had a different reason why we give it back, which is what Naftali was saying, that there's a svara because echad alayva mishloisha yafsel alayva. If one guy borrows from three. I'm sorry, if there's one person with the same borrower, three different lenders. The gabi loive shchichi, so it's l'chayr, it's by the loive. Gabi malva loy shchichi, it's probably not by the malva because you'd have to have three different malvas dropping the shtaros. So shmamina malva me loive nafal must be so the loive. That's why there's three shtaros here with the same borrower in it. Shloisha shlavu me'echad yasel malva. But if three in the shtaros, three borrow from one, you give back to the malva, the gabi malva shchichi, but a malva it's common. Gabi loiva, loy shchichi, but a loiva it's not common. So now the Gemara is basically answering what Naftali is answering, which is that we had a specific reason there why we give it back to the malva and the loiva. Okay, now we start today's daf. But this that we learned in the Mishnah. Matzah tachrich shel shtaris. Good shel shtaris. If you find, basically, these are both bundles of shtaris, right? So Areza Yafsir, you give it back. So we're saying you give it back to the malva, but here is it nicha for the loiva to give it back to the malva? It's not nicha of him to give it back to the malva, because if he gives it back to the malva, he may have to pay again, or he doesn't get out of the paying. Okay, so do noob shot. Elam Marava, 4 lines down on Chav Tesam Al. Elam Marava Simonin Daraisa. Simon is Daraisa, Dichsiv, Vahaya, Imcha Adroy Shachicha Isai. And it should be with you until your brother, literally means your brother, is looking for it. Do you think that you should give it to your brother, meaning to any yid? You find a lost object, you just go give it to any yid? No, the person has to come looking for it. Ela Darshu, you have to wait you darshan. Im Ramayo, if he's a liar. I'm sorry, Darshu, if you look into it, is he a liar? Is he not a liar? La B'Simonin. Now, how are you finding out if the guy's a liar? You're telling him, give me a siman. So Shmami no, it must be it's based on the pasuk. Shmami no, that simanim is the Raisa, which is very interesting because on Amud Beis we said the same Gemara, and we said no, you're not proving it with simanim, you're proving it with witnesses. And here the Gemara doesn't say that, which the Gemara is going to discuss in a minute. So Marava imtim tzalaimer simanim the Raisa. You're saying imtim tzalaimar? So Gemara asks, imtim tzalaimar? How pashale simanim deraisa? You just said that simanim is deraisa, meaning imtim tzalaimar means if you say simanim deraisa, then I have such and such a cases, right? The Gemara is saying, what do you mean? You didn't say imtim tzalaimar. You said it is deraisa. So the Gemara answers, mishum deikul amer kedashninan. No, because the imtim tzalaimar, because you could have answered the way we answered on yesterday's daf, because the Gemara brought the same exact Gemara on yesterday's daf. And said, what else? How else do you darshan? How else do you look into a somebody who potentially lost the item? So we thought, okay, simanim. So simanim is daraisa. And the Gemara answered, it's eidim. You look into it with eidim. And here the Gemara didn't say that. But the Gemara is saying, since there is a possibility that you could say that it's tomar eidim, so therefore you have this. He said imtim tzalaima. Bottom line is that the way we paskin is that simanim is a daraisa, right? Which we said again the vart last night with Rachel and Leah that we paskin simanim is daraisa. So at night she had a din of Rachel. Leah had a din of Rachel because she showed simanim until the simanim were disproven. But anyways, so what's Rava saying? Simanim is simanim. If two people come and give simanim, then yaniach, then you leave it. Meaning you leave it at Sheyov Elio. Right? Simanim ve'edim. Meaning 2 people come and give simanim. So what do you do with it? Just put it away and don't give it back to either one of them. Let's say simanim ve'edim. So let's say you have one guy has simanim and one has edim. So you give it to bala edim, to the one ve'edim, because edim is clearly stronger than simanim. Simanim is simanim ve'ed echad. So simanim and simanim of an eid echad kiman the less dami, and eid echad is not there v'yaniach, and you leave it until Elio. Right? So I heard this kasha, but I don't know any teretz that. Well, you're leaving it till Elio, and Elio is going to decide who gets it, right? Isn't Elio eid echad? Right? So how can you say Elio is going to be the one to decide who gets the lost object? Okay, whatever. I don't remember the teretz of that. That was a kasha that was proposed. I don't know if that's a chutzpah kasha or not.
Well, you're asking on Elio?
Yes. Yes. I was waiting for you to talk. I thought I slipped this one by you, but I guess not.
But
you're
asking also on kasha also.
What?
Eliyahu will also answer this kasha when it comes.
Oh, that could be. That could very well be. Yes, isn't Eliyahu an Eid Echad? He doesn't get special preferential treatment.
Isn't he a malach at this point?
I don't know what's going to be in the future.
When we say Tishbi Yataretz, what does that mean?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
you're saying out the Torah? Somebody, is this a real?
I heard this kasha. I heard
it's
this
a real kasha. You saw it somewhere?
I heard it. I heard it was being hacked about. I'll have to find out. I meant to look into it today, and then of course I forgot. But
Did you hear it on Purim?
No. It's a serious kasha. I think it's a serious kasha.
Mashiach, doesn't Mashiach make he made decisions based on how he smells and other supernatural ways? So I would assume Eliyahu also has access to these supernatural ways.
That's what Iran is saying. I don't think that Eliyahu, when we say Eliyahu, I know he's going to decide. I don't think it's a supernatural. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but I don't understand it.
It could be maybe the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin will decide. He'll be the head of the Sanhedrin. It could be. Also, we say there's difference if a Talmud Chacham says something as different than Monas, correct? We find that all over Shas. Talmud Chacham is different than Monas than other people.
Yeah, here we're talking about Yaniach means you're leaving it until Eliyahu.
Maybe Mashiach will be the other eight.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, fine.
Anyways, so again, he's going through all the options. So Simanim against Simanim is Yaniach Rachiel Eliyahu. Simanim against Adim win. Simanim against Simanim and Eid Echad. We look at the Eid Echad as if it doesn't exist and it stays till Achiyah Eliyahu, which again is hard to understand because shouldn't an Eid Echad tilt it? But basically, what we're saying is an Eid Echad is useless. Eid Ariga ve'Eid Nefila. Right, so some say that one of them has Eidus, that he was the one that wove the beged, and there are those that say the Eidus that it fell from him. So Tinasan laid in a fila, he should give it to the Eidim that saw it fall. Why Damrinan Zvune Zavna? Because just because you saw a guy weaving a garment doesn't mean he didn't sell it. Damrinan Zvune Zavna, he sold it. In a Shachrina Nafal, and it fell from somebody else.
Doesn't it mean that it fell from the guy who could have stolen it?
I don't think you have to go that far to think the guy stole it.
What if a woman? Can a woman be considered an aid for any of these events?
I don't think so. Yesterday's daf we said Enochanami Naftali's bringing up a good point. We said we're choshed that a guy borrowed his clothing. The dead man borrowed somebody's clothing, right? Actually, now that you remind me, never there was a bacher in the bungalow colony. I don't know if you remember that Rahman was killed. He had a car accident. Then he borrowed somebody else's car. I don't think he had ID on him. So the state police came to the bungalow colony looking for the people that lent him the car, and they thought that guy is the one that died. So they went to his bungalow. He said, "No, that's me." So then they lent it out. He figured out who borrowed the car, and that's the way it was. Fine. Midas Arka, Midas Rachbay. One guy says he knows the length, and the other guy knows the width of the clothing. So who wins? Midas Arka. You give it to the one who says the measurement for the length. The Midas Rachbay Shurika Masharla because somebody can, I guess it's easy to figure out how wide it is when you see the guy wearing it. The length is much harder to figure out. It's much
you understand that svara?
What?
You understand that svara, why length and width is different?
Yes.
Parents understand it. Call him tonight. Zeb. Call him tonight and ask him.
Parents.
So it depends how the normal garments were worn. I do understand it a little bit. Meaning, if you have a talus and you bunch up the talus, or the truth is, you're right. If you bunch it up, you can't really tell the width either. Right? Yeah, I hear. Yeah, masking to you. Midas Arku, Midas Rachbu, Midas Gamav. So this one is another one I don't understand. the midah of the length. One guy gives the midah of the length and its width, and the other guy gives the combined gamma from the word gam, from the letter gam in Yavan, right? So it's an L, where Rashi says it's an end of chaf, right? So meaning one guy can give you, the width of this garment is 10 inches, and the length is 40 inches, and the other guy says it's 50 inches altogether. So who do you believe? You give it to the guy who knew the length and the width.
So it's from this week's Parsha.
Why?
Big Day, because the Big Day Kahuna were tailor made to each Cohen, so each person has different measurements.
I hear. But wouldn't it be more detailed to know the combination of the length and the width than to know the length and the width?
Yeah, we have to be everything. It's absurd.
50 could be 25 and 25. It could be 35 and 20.
That's what you're saying. That
Yeah,
you just know the combination. Yeah, but if the combination was good, was on target.
But it could be so many different things.
Yeah, but I'm saying, how did he get to that combination? But you must be right, because that's what the Gemara says. Yeah. Midas archa, midas rachma.
The guy that says both has a combination also.
Yeah.
He just has more information.
Why does he have more? I mean, I guess that's more information. I hear. I didn't think of it that way, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, midas archa, midas rachma, midas mishkalai. So one guy knows the length and the width, and the other guy knows its weight. Nice and lamidas mishkalai, because that's obviously more information if you know that it's you know the weight. Whoever simane haget, if he says the simane of the get, and she says the simane of the get, right? And obviously they're fighting over whether she's actually divorced or not. Yinasan goes to her. And why do we say that? Because why would she have any business knowing what the get looks like unless it was given to her? Right? So that's so b'mai. Elam. So what did they know? Recognize Elam midas arkav rachbai. Let's say it was by the length and the width. Dilma bahadi dinakat like chasisi. Maybe when they were holding it, she was able to eyeball the get, and she could say how much it was, even if it was never given to her. We had this teretz a couple of blot ago, somewhere where there was a hole next to one letter. He says that it's a simonim of the string, which they tied up to get together with. And she says it's simone achut. So that's what they're saying. So you give it to her. So Gemara asks, if you say it was red or white, maybe she saw what the string was that was going to tie the get together. She saw it. Must be talking about by the length of the get. They knew exactly how long the get was. Right? But he says it was in the chafisa. It's like some sort of bag. Right? The get was in a bag. And she says when chafisa. So you give it to him. My timer. Meaning again, if they're here in this case, you give it both to him. I'm saying if they're both saying the same, you give it to him. My time and made the yada the koma the isle bechvisa hu the marachle. She knows because we don't trust her because she knows she was married to this guy, so she knows that everything he has he puts into this bag. So Mamela, she says, "Oh yeah, it was in the bag," right? Because she knows her husband's habits. Okay, so basically, in all these cases, you have to know who exactly to give it to, based on who do you think is more knowledgeable. And if it seems to be a wash, then Eliyahu is going to be the one to decide who gets it. Fine. And we don't do Shlomo Melech Seitza.
Splitting it.
To say split it and see which one says, don't split it, because I guess that only works for a human, not for an object. Lo chayru. Okay, Zog the Mishnah. Va'ad Masay Chayv Lahachis. Oh. What's the problem, Gershon?
Either that's the answer to Eliyahu Navi being an Eidasuk. It's not that he's giving. It's not that Eliyahu Navi is giving Eidos on who it belongs to, but he can find six to figure out whose it is.
I mean, he's deciding as a judge.
Right.
Okay, I hear that. But I don't think that, who says that that's what Eliyahu Hanavi is doing? I thought Eliyahu Hanavi is just being megala to us the truth.
It makes more sense to me to say that the truth that he's saying is whose it is by Hilchos Torah. Eliyahu Hanavi has no reason to know exactly everything belongs to who and what everyone owns.
I hear. I don't know. I guess that would be a teretz. Yeah, fine. Okay, so Zok the Mishnah. Right, this is the kasha everybody asks. I found a lost object. So how many times do I have to post it on the WhatsApp? Which the Mishnah is not going to answer. But for how long do I have to announce? When, how many times do I have to? How long do I have to publicize it for? Ad kedeshiyedu b'shchena. You have to do it enough that the neighbors will know about it. Divrei Meir. You have 3 Yom Tovim. And then after the last Yom Tiv, Shiva Yomim, you wait 7 days. Why? Why 7 days? Takes 3 days for him to go home. And it takes 3 days to come back. And he calls out, meaning when he gets home, he says, "Is this thing lost?" Right? And then, meaning, well, not whatever he's calling out. Not is this thing lost? This was a lost object, and try and find the person. Right. So again, so Rameir holds you have until then everybody knows about it in the neighborhood, and Rav Yehuda says you have 3 Yom times, and the Gemara says Tana Shachni Aveda. We said that it means that the neighbors of the person who lost it. So my Shachni Aveda. Ilem Shchenim the Bal Aveda. It means the neighbors of the Bal Aveda. Iyadale. So it means if they know that who it belongs to, lays of knows, then why don't they give it to him? And you're saying until all the neighbors know that this item is lost. Well, if they know and they recognize it, so then why shouldn't they give it back to the guy? So that can't be the case. Ella, you have to tell it to the people that live where the Aveda was found. Right? Fine. So Rabbi Yehuda says,
but the Aveda was, let's say you near the white shoe, right? And you're lost Aveda by the white shoe. So you have to look around from the people around the white shoe, not in your neighborhood. That's what the Gemara is saying.
In that neighborhood, where it was found, you announce it in that neighborhood.
Let's say you lost Aveda on Frisco, right? Right? That's where you live, right? So
that's where you have to announce it.
How does that work with phones nowadays? Cell phones. I mean,
we're talking about the guy who found it.
We're talking about the guy.
You lost over there. Tough luck on you. You're hoping that the person who found it finds it somewhere where you lost it, and those guys know you, recognize you, but there's no you as the guy who lost it. Until they, you don't have to go. But you can go looking for it, but if it's been found, it was. I don't know.
No, it's the place where the Aveda is found.
Yeah.
You lost an Aveda. You live on Frisco. You lost an Aveda by the young Gizmo.
No, I found it. We're talking about the finder announcing
the finder, and you lost. Let's say you lost it in the young Gizmo Woodmere. So the finder has to announce it around the young Gizmo Woodmere, not where you live.
How's he supposed to know where I live? He doesn't know who I am. Otherwise, you should give it to me. That was the Gemara. That was having me.
Right.
Zed, you live in Virginia. You have to announce it in Virginia if you lost it in the Young Israel Woodmere? You have to announce it around where you lost it.
That was the Gemara's Havamina. The Gemara's Havamina, like he was saying.
How's he going to know?
No, even how do you know if the people in that neighborhood know about it, then they would return it, right? You would have returned it to him. Right? We're talking about in the place that you found it, you have to announce it.
We hope the guy comes back.
Now the question becomes like, I don't know if this is what you're asking, But that's sort of, I think, what Bava was asking. Nowadays with technology, cars, I mean, what's considered the neighborhood? Right? I'm saying we got people coming in and out of the White Shul all day from everywhere.
Right.
So how far do you have to go to be mefarsim it? That's sort of what you're asking. Yeah. So yeah, Nachanami, it's not so. If you put it on, you have to go on every shul aveda.com, right? That's the new website. New website aveda.com, and you put it on every shul status and every this one status and that one status. So how far do you go? I don't know. These are very shver sugyas. You know, it's when you're walking down the street, I'm saying, which I'm bringing this up, Agav, since I'm certainly not making Myra in 5 minutes. So, I'm saying, when you're walking down the street and you see a hat on the floor, like, you know, whatever, a glove, a pen, or something like that, what's your hat to not to pick it up? What?
Yanko Galinsky. You see a hat walking on the
floor. Yeah.
And I'm saying, and this is a doraisa, right?
Potential two doraisas, an isser alav and a mitzvah saseh.
So why don't we do more to?
There is no good
pick
answer.
Pick it up and return it.
There is no good answer to that question, as far as I know. I know one person, a Rebbe, an old Rebbe, Rabbi Kaplan, Paris. Rabbi Kaplan Zechron Levracha. He supposedly, anytime he had a whole closet full of junk. His wife didn't have any idea what to do with it. Remember Rabbi Kaplan, Rachamim?
It was called the Eliyahu closet.
He was a real tzaddik. Let me tell you, he was legit. He was a legit tzaddik.
Kaplan, or Mendel Kaplan? Are you talking about?
No, not Mendel Kaplan. Oh, he's his son.
Aryeh Kaplan.
Not Aryeh Kaplan. He's a Rebbe in Sich Yitzchak, Rabbi Kaplan. Not Aryeh Kaplan. No, that's not what I'm talking about. He was from Bensonhurst, from the base of Talmud. Anyway, so
you could move to Phoenix as Roiv Goyim, and they don't have the problem.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. Yeah. But that's another question. How do we calculate Roiv Goyim? That's whole nother story.
Right.
For Akwa, it's Roiv Goyim. Lamaisa, at the end of the day, it's Roiv Goyim. Just a matter of where it falls.
Right.
Anyway, but so it's not, let's say you're in the White Shul, you see something laying on the floor in the hallway in the White Shul. What's your hat to not to pick it up? Right? Unless like the previous Gemaras say that perhaps it looks like the guy left it there on purpose. He's going to come back to get it. So now you have to make yourself meshuga. Whether that's
on the floor, he left it on the floor.
I don't know. It's something you put in the corner.
I'm saying he left it on the floor.
No, you're right. In all probability, you should pick it up at least. And then what? Bring it to the office. I don't know. The halacha l'maisa, this is very shver. Anyways, okay, right. So, bottom line is, you have to publicize the finding of the lost object in the neighborhood where it was found, not in your own neighborhood, and not in the. Well, I don't even know how you would know where the Balaveda is, but the point is in the neighborhood that you found it. Fine. If Yehuda says you have 3 Yomim Tovim, and then a week after that, so 3 days to get home, 3 days to get back. So Ramino asks Yestira b'shloisha b'mar cheshvan shoylin asak shaman. On the 3rd day of cheshvan, mar cheshvan, right? That's when we start saying the same talamata. Then we go li'olam b'zayin boy, which is the way we pass him in Eretz Yisrael. On the 14th day, we go with December 4th, December 5th, but in Eretz Yisrael they go with on the 7th day. Tesvav Yoim Achar Chag, which is 15 days after Sukkot. Why? So that the last guy will get to the Nahar Paras, which was the furthest from Eretz Yisrael.
We don't do that.
We don't do it. We don't do it because in Eretz Yisrael, because really the rain is for Eretz Yisrael. But basically, want to give a guy 15 days to get home. So you see that it's 15 days to get home, not 3 days.
And how does that change nowadays?
Now, yes, like 100%.
Doesn't take you 15 days.
Correct. Yeah, that's a big question.
Where is Harpras? Where's Harpras?
Nahar Paras? Is it Euphrates?
Near Woodburn.
It's the Euphrates, right? The Euphrates River, which helps me nothing because I have no idea where the Euphrates River is. What? It's Iraq. It's near there, right? It's not far out. Whoever it is, I don't even know. That's pretty fast for back then.
So
Either way,
what's the question? It should be longer.
well, the Mishnah says it's 3 days to get
Right.
home.
And this says,
This is 15 days.
and
So
Bahab is also longer, right?
what?
Bahab also you wait for it to get back. That's also longer.
Bahab starts the 4th with Tesvav. Anyway, Summer of Yosef, like
Don't we
Kasha.
wait for them to get back also for Bahab or something? Is that a cheshbon?
Well, we wait for
Okay.
Rosh Chodesh for Bahab.
I thought you
Wait till after Rosh Chodesh. Summer of Yosef, yeah, we do. Like anyway, so like Kasha, Kam Mikdash Rishon, Kam Mikdash Sheni. This is a pretty wild Gemara actually. One is talking about Mikdash Rishon, one is talking about Mikdash Sheni. The Mikdash Rishon, the Nefesh Yisrael Tuva, and the Mikdash Rishon, where there were lots of people in Klal Yisrael, the Sibbahu, and this has to be some sort of exaggeration. It's Yehuda of Yisrael, Rabim Kechol Asher Halayam L'Roiv. Yehuda and Yisrael there were as many people there as the sand that's by the sea. Now, if you take that literally, then you can't have that many people in the world, right? For every grain of sand that's found by the sea, right? Being in Kulei High, therefore, you need that much time because there were so many people. Of the Mikdash Sheni, the Nefesh Yisrael Tuva, which unfortunately by Mikdash Sheni there weren't that many. To Sibbahu, Kol HaKol Ke'echad Arba Ribui Alfayim Sholosh Me'ez V'Shishim. Right, it was 42 Arba Ribui. That's 10,000. Arba Ribui Alfayim Sholosh Me'ez V'Shishim. We have 42,360, which is a pretty exact count for Bayesheni, right? But that's not a lot. So then Leibina Kulei High, meaning clearly Klal Yisrael was not spread out. So they didn't take that. It didn't take that much time to try. Not because of traffic. Originally, I learned this going as it was traffic. Right, so all those people had to get out, so it just took time. That's not what it means. It means that the furthest Yid, we have all these people, lives a lot further out, into all the way to Woodburn, right, or something like that. It's not if Baruch Hashem Klal Yisrael is growing. Look at Lakewood, Lamashal, right? So Lakewood used to be just around the 6th the city. If even that. Now Lakewood is who knows, right? So Amar Le Abaya, V'Ksiva Yeshua Kayim Elavim, and the Kayim Elavim were living B'Hamashayrim, and the one that sang B'Shayrim, and the people that held the gates for Chol Yisrael Ba'arim, and everybody in their cities. Right? Meaning, it's basically saying the pasuk that the cities were still occupied, just it was a lot less people. Right? So the Gemara says, and since you're asking this question, if from Stavra, then the Svar is actually the opposite. Mikdash Rishon, the Nefesh Yisrael Tuva, so the base of Mikdash. First place, we had lots of people. The mitzvahs alma. So people with mitzvahs from the word doesn't mean from the word mitzvah. It means friendship. Which then Rashi says, "Tayv Mashnayim, 2 is better than 1." So therefore, since there were so many people, so you have caravans going back and forth all around. Because the more people you have, the more you're going to have public transportation and these type of things, right? So so therefore you didn't need that much time because there were caravans going back and forth. All you need is 3 days. Mikdash Sheni, the line of Yisrael Tuva, there weren't that many Yidden. So people couldn't get together as often. And you can't find rides, whether it's day or night. Being in Kulei High, therefore you need 15 days. Right? Meaning in a big city, you want to get public transportation at night, it's no problem. Leave the big city and you got nothing going on. Like my nephew sitting on the couch over here complains when he comes to Farakaway, where can he get food at night after 10 o'clock? But in Lakewood, he gets it. In Lakewood, he can get it to all hours of the night. Right? So I'm saying that the bigger the city, the bigger the things you get. Anyway, Rava has a different teretz. Forget about Phoenix. Try to get food on Phoenix. Oh, he's not on now. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, and Rabbi says it didn't make a difference was it based on Mikdash in the first base of Mikdash, second base of Mikdash, the Chachamim didn't want to be matriach of somebody with an Aveda. Right? Meaning you're going to hold it on you held it for 3 Yomim Tovim, and now you want to hold it for another 15 days, 7 days is enough. Fine. From this we hear, because we're going to have this machlokes on our base. What are you calling out? When you say that you have something lost, do you say you lost a clothing? Do you say what the item is? Or you just say that did anybody lose something? Right? So when you machriz a clothing. These are because if you just say you found something and that's it, you don't give any more information, then you have to add another day in order to look through all of his clothing. Right? Meaning, imagine you give an announcement by the Beis Hamikdash after Yom Tov, and you say, I found something, and you don't tell anybody what it is. So now everybody goes home and starts doing a checklist through all their belongings. It just takes a long time. Masha Enke, if you announce what the item is, then a guy knows if he has all his shirts intact, so then it's not him that lost it. Obviously, Glima's shirts is just a muscle. Glima Machriz, he calls out that it's a shirt. The guy will obviously have to give simanim, how many buttons on the shirt, what color shirt, what type, how was it cut, etc. You could even say that he announces the Aveda. And the Chachamim did not add on any more days because they're not going to be matriach of him. Fine. So then Taner Rabbanon, Regel Rishon, right? So what did again? Rabbi Yehuda said that you have to keep 3 Yomim Tov. So Regel Rishon, Omer Regel Rishon. On the Regel Rishon, he announces when he makes the announcement or puts up the sign outside the Beis Hamikdash. He says on it, "This is my first Yom Tov that I'm announcing." Regel Sheni, Omer Regel Sheni. Regel Shlishi, Omer Stam. Regel Shlishi, he does not announce it. He says it's Stam. Regel Shlishi. Why doesn't he just say, "This is my third Yom Tov"? Because the guy might mix it up with Yom Tov number 2. Right? So
what does that mean?
What?
I didn't understand that. What does that mean?
Meaning he's going to say, "Oh, I still had time to come back to claim the Aveda because I thought you said this was your second Yom Tov." Well, really, the guy said it was his third Yom Tov. Right? And therefore the guy loses out. Meaning 3 and 2 get confused. Could this be why on El Al, I have to bring it to Yana Diyama, the seats going across, it was I wasn't part of the problem, but it goes A, B, C, D, F, G. There's no E in the seats. And then they also take out the I. They don't do an E and they don't do the I. Like vowels, it seems like they don't put. So I have no idea why that is.
They don't do it in apartments also a lot. They're missing E and I in apartments.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So there must be something too. I thought maybe it gets confusing.
Maybe a Kabbalistic thing, the same way you see on elevators, there's no 13th floor on the elevators, you know.
That's what I wonder.
They actually lost E and I, and they just never put them back. They didn't have the letters when they ordered the letters. They didn't get the E's and I's.
Maybe it wasn't on sale. So I don't know. I thought that maybe people would get it confused, which is sort of like this Gemara. Shlishi and Sheni will get confused. So Gemara says, so then Sheni Nami on top of base now. The Sheni is going to get mixed up with the Rishon.
But that doesn't matter.
Right?
He still has the third one to come back to. If he decides
Exactly.
not to come back,
The Gemara answers, Hakasi Regel Shlishi. You still have the third regel to come back for, meaning if he mixes up the third with the second, so he can come back and complain. But if not, then he can't. But if he mixes up the third with the second, then he could be done. If he mixes up the first with the second, he still is going to have another announcement after the third Yom Tov. Fine. So Tana Rabbanon, for Rishayna Kol Shematza Veda Hayamachas Shlosh Regalim. He would call out 3 regalim. Bechad Regal Achron, Bachar Regal Achron Shivas Yom 7 days. Kadesh Yelach Shloisha, so that 3 will go. V'Yasser Shloisha V'Yachuz Yom Echad, and then he'll come back 3 days, and then it'll be Machaz 1 day. Mishachar Beis Hamikdash Sheivan V'Meir V'Yameinu. When the Beis Hamikdash will be built, the Skinu Shiyam Mechrizim about the Knesses about the Midrash should announce it in the shuls. Misharabo Einzim, and when the Einzim came, meaning they would come take any lost objects, the Skinu Shiyam Adin L'Shcheina V'Lamoyadav B'Daya. You just tell it to the neighbors and to people, the Miyuadav, I'm sorry, those that are friends. You keep it unter and tish around the neighborhood, B'Daya, and that's enough. My Misharabo Anasim, what does it mean when there's more Anasim? The Amri Avedasa L'Malka, we say, if the person says anything lost goes to the king. Now there's a big tumult with this. Meaning anything is lost, it goes to the king, which is not right. What happens when you lose something in a yeshiva? What do they all do? And shuls?
They take it.
They take it and they sell it. It's hefker after 30 days. Where does that halacha come from? It doesn't. It's very unclear halachically where all these yeshivas and these shuls do it. You know what I mean? It's very, very halachically difficult to understand. Rabbi Kleinman gave a shir, from the Talmud, the one that writes the halachas forum from Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky. So he said in Philadelphia yeshiva they have a room with all the hefker stuff sitting there for years, because that's what you got to do. It's not hefker, whatever. That's Hashavas Aveda. They don't do this, make a sale, charge money, make things hefker. They don't do any of that, because where do you get from that you're allowed to do that? Right? Anyways, Rabbi Ami Ashkach Aduye de Dinri. Rabbi Ami found a jug full of gold coins. Chaziyahu Barnash to Kamirsas. He saw a person saw that he was scared, that Rabbi Ami was scared. Amalei Zil Shkol Nafsho says, no, you take it for yourself. The La Parsayan, I'm not a Persian. Damri Avidosa Lamalka that says the Avedas go to the Malka. Persians do that. We don't, which is the opposite of that Gemara at the end of Bava Kama, where they said, "Oh, this is not the Persians." How did it go with the Gemara Bava Kama there? Where he said, "Oh, the Romans will kill you; the Persians will not kill you." Right? I guess the Persians were killers. I'm sorry, they were not killers, but they were stealers of Avedas. Okay, whatever it is. Tana Rabbanan. Evan Tayin, there was an Evan Tayin, and that's just talking about. By Chayni Amago, when it didn't rain, so he stood in the circle and he told Hashem, I'm not leaving the circle till it rains. Then it rained so much that they asked him to stop davening for rain. So he answered them back, when the Evan Tayin melts, that's when we'll stop. I mean, you can't ask Hashem to stop giving you something good, and rain is good. So what's the Evan Tayin in Yerushalayim? There was this big stone in Yerushalayim. Kol Misha Avdallah Aveda. Whoever lost an Aveda would go there. Basically was a big fat lost and found. This one gets up and calls out, and there's some nice Simanim. This one stands and gives Simanim. The night he takes it. Go out and see if the stone of the Evan Hatayin stone melted, meaning from the rain. If it melted good, then he'll start davening. If not, he'll stop, whatever, he'll daven, then Hashem should stop it. Until then, he's not davening. See, we're losing the crowd over here. It's a little late. Okay, yeah, we'll stop over here, even though we're a little behind. But the Amid Aleph is short tomorrow, so hopefully we'll catch it up. Okay, we'll stop there. We'll say Tillim.